This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 57 for June 11th, 2006. Vloggercon.
And a very good day to you. I'm Leo Laporte, and we are doing TWiT once again from the Apple Store in San Francisco, California, as part of Vloggercon. And there are a lot of vloggers across from us doing their presentation. We'll meet some vloggers as time goes by. But I can think part of the problem with the term vlogger is I'm not sure what it means. We have everybody on this panel has done video on the internet, but is that a vlog? I don't know. Let me introduce the panel, starting from my left with Jason McCabe Calacanis.
Thank you for having me. It's been my dream to be on the show.
We've been trying. I've been quoting you on the show many times.
You know what? It's I do get that information on a very regular basis.
Jason has been a long-time member of the electronic community, starting back in New York City. Were you part of Pseudo or just...
I did a radio show on Pseudo, which was Josh Harris's company back in the streaming media days, starting in 96, 97.
Long time ago.
And he did actually... I used to be on his... He used to rent AM radio and then have a chat room on Prodigy in 95. And so that was the first interactive thing being done. It was part of NYU's ITP program at the time.
Right.
All kinds of crazy stuff. That was a fun one.
You started the Silicon Alley Reporter?
Silicon Alley Reporter, Venture Reporter, sold it to Dow Jones, then started Weblogs Inc, which produces Engadget and a number of other blogs, and sold that to AOL.
In 18 months he flipped that sucker.
18 months, yeah, and I've been at AOL for about 6 months, and I'm going to be announcing some new stuff in a couple of weeks.
So are you running Weblogs Inc. at AOL, or are you doing something
CEO
completely
of Weblogs
different?
Inc., which is an American online company. It's a subsidiary.
Right.
And I'm also running a couple of other departments at AOL. That'll be revealed shortly.
But right now, the only guy on this panel who's not actually doing video on the internet.
Me?
Yeah.
I have a number of video crews who work for me. I've got about 6 or 7 full-time video people.
So what you're saying is you have people who do that.
I got people who do that. We do video on Joystick. We do video on Engadget.
That's true. Engadget does a lot of video. Yeah.
Engadget's, lots of video. And, I've got 2 full-time predators on staff. We call them predators, producer editors. So they can actually go find the person to interview them, cut the video, and upload it. So we did a lot of that on Joystick at E3.
Yeah.
A lot of good video, and some good video at CES this year.
Well, we're glad to get you on the show. We really appreciate it. There's a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Patrick Norton is also here, DLTV. He's doing IPTV, both streaming and downloadable.
Yeah, downloadable video. It's good.
Yeah.
Video on the web.
Will it bring back memories doing that screensaver's entrance like that?
Hot, sweaty, and trying to figure out why I was running when I wasn't being chased.
There's nowhere to go.
Why am I running into a crowd of people?
I just thought it'd be fun to try it out that way. Amber MacArthur is here down from Canada. Of course, she is the producer and host, predator of Command N, but also my co-host on Call for Help. It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. We've been shooting Torrent in the city, which has been fantastic.
Torrent is a new show on G4 Tech TV Canada, which is all about video podcasts.
Yeah, we really take the best video podcasts that we find on the internet and we put them together in one show per week, and we find lots of great stuff, and we featured lots of shows from people who are around here. So,
well, it was your idea that to come to Vloggercon. I didn't even know about Vloggercon until you mentioned it. I mean, this is an interesting event. We'll talk a little bit about what Vloggercon is all about in just a second. Also to my right, John C. Dvorak.
Hello.
Who is a cranky geek.
Look at this. You got a little, on this thing, there's a little bitty camera.
That's just a green light. Pay no attention to that. That's it.
You're on a camera there.
Don't touch the lens. John's playing with my MacBook.
Oh.
The size of this camera.
Don't touch the screen, John.
Yeah, don't touch this thing. It's so delicate.
It's a piece of art.
Let's try the old drop test on it.
No, please not. We're actually in a weird situation. We're on the bridge at the Apple Store, which goes across the staircase as people come in and they go up to the auditorium. That's because the Vloggercon convention has a Meet the Vloggers event in the auditorium across from us. But what's weird is there actually is gaps, so we could drop things.
I know.
Through
I'm hoping there's not an earthquake.
Watch those TWiT brushes, because they could go right through the crack there, and yeah, we could go.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Dvorak.org/blog.
Thank you very much.
I have one of the funniest posts I've ever done right now. It's online. It's a cat. Has anyone seen this thing, by the way? It's some jokers put a cat toy on an overhead fan, and this cat's reaching for it, and then he gets caught in it.
Oh my goodness.
God.
Well, it's not bad. The cat just goes around and around and then gets thrown against the wall. It's quite humorous.
Is it a video or an animation?
It's a video.
It's very real. It's actually, somebody's put together like a 25-minute collection of viral videos of cats doing
weird things.
stupidity.
Yeah, that's definitely worth checking
It's
out.
called ucat.com.
Yeah. Remember the the cat scans? Remember that? They would had scans of cats. People would upload they would put their kitty on a scanner and they would scan it.
Yeah, cat people plus tech people,
that.
bad combination.
Bad combination.
Yeah.
One more person introduced. Actually, there's going to be lots more coming through, but I'm really thrilled Andrew Barron is here. I called you Andrew Cogden last week, but that was just
there
a
is
slip.
an Andrew Cogden, though, and he's here, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
seriously.
That's who I meant to have him. I'm sorry, Andrew. No, Andrew is the evil genius behind the incredibly successful Rocketboom. And I confused you with Amanda Cogden, who is your host on Rocketboom. But I didn't really. I knew you weren't Amanda. It was my mouth.
Oh, well, I don't have any expectations.
Are you a vlogger? What is a vlogger?
What is a vlogger?
Yeah.
The word just fascinates you to no end.
Well, it's interesting. There's a lot of different terms that are being thrown around right now, but video blogging or vlogging, the shortened word for it, is just very much like blogging.
Which originally Rocketboom kind of was. But it's moved more to a show now, wouldn't you say, a daily show?
It originally started as a daily show.
It was always intended to be that. Yeah.
And we use blog software. We are talking to bloggers. We get a lot of our news from blogs. Right. We have comments and we archive everything, and it's kind of short and uses a lot of the same sort of style. So
how many page views do you get a month?
How many page views
a month? Ask him how many he gets a day.
Well, a month is a number I can
ask
calculate.
him a day.
We count by video downloads per day, like complete,
how many
progressive. We have around 300,000 typically.
Hey, Leah's going to wreck the place.
How do you pay your bandwidth bills?
Well, we actually.
Yeah, the bandwidth bills have got to be
when
amazing.
we got started, bandwidth costs were 90% of what they are today. Or today it's only 10%, in other words, of what it was just a year and a half. So it's so cheap. I mean, even today, it's our biggest cost, but it's really nothing at all, even to mention.
You get 300. Oh, here come the cops. Sorry about that. You get 300,000 a day, though, partly because when you go to your page, they start watching the show, right? But you're counting from you fully watched video, not just started video.
Full downloads.
Yeah,
full downloads.
Yeah,
that's insane.
But that also is not just on our site, because we distribute it on so many different platforms, like on TiVo or BitTorrent distributions, all kinds of stuff.
That's amazing.
How many people? Do you have any indication on how many people open it? That's a statistic I'm always dealing with.
Now, don't bring this up.
Yeah.
Because advertisers keep saying that to me. They say, well, yeah, you have that many downloads, but how many people watch?
Of course, they all open them.
But see, you could ask the same thing at PC Magazine. How many people subscribe but don't read it?
You just can't ask that
actually
for
do studies.
The other thing, too, is a lot of times with our shows, like a lot of people will watch them at work and stuff, and they share it kind of with their friends. So they
you probably
3 people sit around and watch.
Pass
you
around
with more people than the total number of downloads.
Exactly.
That's why I got out of
it. PC Magazine, we have they have a multiplier by the number of issues, and there's so many people read. About 2.2 people or so read.
One thing you can say for sure, though, because at least unlike television, where a Nielsen rating is a guess, you at least know how many people have downloaded.
It's not just a guess. These guys are statistical geniuses.
We're going to have a way to.
Only 5 people meters, and they know.
John?
I'm telling you. No, I defend them.
You defend them?
I think Nielsen does a good job.
You're one of the few, John. In fact, it's the dirty secret of local television.
Oh, local television, I don't say they do a good job, but nationally, I think they do.
Another voice joins the party here. Robert Scoble, the Scobleizer, is here.
Hey, Leo.
Perhaps best known as a blogger,
but known as Scoble.
He's best known as Scoble, isn't he? More than anything else, he's the face, the blog face of Microsoft.
He's a Microsoft shill.
That's it.
Let's say it. Let's say it what it is. Scoble, admit it.
I've sold out.
See, he even admits
I sold my soul.
You also do video though with the Channel 9.
Yep.
You
got the Channel 9 right there.
What's great is he's kind of like a guerrilla videographer.
Look at that. He's got the VX1.
Hey, you got a new camera there.
Yeah,
that's HD, isn't it?
Hey, Bill has some cash now.
He's got an HD camera. I mean, this is the kind of money he's getting made. When you sell it to Microsoft, you get good
Hey, if
gear.
you're going to sell out, go for high dollars.
Hold a little closer.
That's what HD stands for.
Oh, sorry.
That's good. So now we got a real panel, and at some point,
nobody can hear
Eric Nichols, Ask a Ninja, is going to show up, but we'll know he's here. Kent, I'm sorry.
When we get a star in the
Eric Cogden of Ask a Ninja.
If he's not dressed as a ninja, he can't be on the show.
We'll know he's here. He'll be dressed in black.
See what he looks like.
Yeah, apparently.
I love Ask a Ninja.
Isn't it
too.
funny? Yeah, it's
My
amazing.
favorite
Amazing.
video show, yeah.
There's some really good stuff out there, I have to say. Do you worry, Andrew, because there's a lot of people who are breathing down your neck, trying to do what you do, basically. Are you afraid of that?
Afraid? No, we encourage it more
You
and
like
more.
it?
Or, I mean, I think this is the most exciting thing about this, really, is that everybody can jump in and there's really room for everybody.
I agree with you. I mean, I think there's a theory is that it validates it. The more people who do in the category, it validates the category. And it helps the guy who's on top.
Until the collapse.
Until it all implodes.
Yeah, which it will do eventually. It's a cycle.
Well, I think it's actually, there's some big differences that's happening in this medium, and that is that traditionally up until now, our whole lives, all of us have only ever seen either major silver screen movies, and we've only seen a few of those, or we've only seen what's on just a few stations. And therefore, some of the greatest works that have been, tried to get onto the platform just couldn't make it. Maybe because the guy was a bad business person, or maybe it was because somebody didn't sleep with somebody else. You just never know, all of that stuff. Plenty of that.
There's a lot of bad
there
stuff.
There was never an avenue for all these other possibilities, and so now, of course,
we get to see a lot of sucky
stuff. So we'll get plenty of
good
niche quality stuff.
Dvorak pissing off video bloggers everywhere.
Yeah. The most amazing thing, actually, about all this too is that most people have not. There have not been a lot of people that have actually had the tools in their possession to work with. A lot of creative artists.
That's what excites me.
Yeah.
It is the technology democratizes it. Mm-hmm. But just as when we first got laser printers and fonts, and you saw the world's worst desktop publishing, you're seeing the same kind of thing happening with video,
never
too.
Really saw it. That never really came to be, I don't think.
Oh, there was ghastly stuff.
No, most of it was never that bad. It was worse before people had all these tools. When you had to do those cut and paste stuff,
All right, stand corrected, but
I'm telling you,
you get no spam, you get no bad laser art, you get no bad
but he hasn't gotten
publishing.
email yet, so that's solved the spam problem. That email thing's overrated.
It's funny you say that because there's been some people writing about that topic. They're saying that email is dead.
It's dead.
And it's not going to be useful.
An excellent article in Security Focus that, in fact, postulated that
electricity and gasoline as well.
It's not dead if you get a good spam filtering system like I use.
Exactly.
Oh, please. We want to give it one plug before we move on.
You just go to the blog at Dvorak.org and click on I Get No Spam, and you go right to Mark Perkel's. And Mark, by the way, how you doing, Mark? I know he's listening now. So you go to ctime.com.
But John, you bring up the lack of quality on content. I just got an HD TV, and I sit there and watch the Discovery Channel for hours on end. There's no content there. It's just pretty.
TV's notorious for bad content.
HD content.
But like
you have an over-the-air. I'm sorry.
It was so funny. He got his HDTV. He goes, "Dude, I'm watching soccer," and I'm like, "That's strange." He goes, "I hate soccer, but it's good. I can see the shoelaces and the blades of grass."
Chris Perillo says he watches baseball.
You get over it after a while. You do
get over it.
But do you have an over-the-air receiver?
No, I use
you got to get an over-the-air receiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amber MacArthur, what is a vlog?
You're still on this?
I'm
sorry, we just time warp to 99.
It's going to be like an hour shot on
I want to know what a vlog is. I'm sorry.
Video blog.
I don't know. I really think that it's possible you can call it the same thing. I mean, they're video podcasts, video blogs, vodcast, vidcast, whatever there's a bunch of different names. Yeah.
I can lay out the differences here.
But it's an issue here because there are people here who say, I'm a video blogger. Like we're watching on the screen.
It all has to do with either A, what the technology is in which it's distributed, and or how that particular person happens to identify with what they're doing.
But there are people here who say that
not necessarily, but where their entry point is. Like for instance,
there are people here who would say that none of us are vloggers, even though we do video on the internet. We don't count because we're not doing quote a video.
I would be one of those people.
It's easier to say.
Well,
we know at least podcasting. We know at least podcasting has to have RSS with enclosure spec, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't distribute it over RSS with enclosures, it's not a podcast. Period.
Yeah, right.
So it's purely defined based on the technological distribution.
I agree 100% with him.
Blogging or video blogging.
You're missing my point. You're missing my point.
I don't think he is.
He's talking purely semantically. My issue is cultural.
You kept asking for definitions.
It's cultural.
So here's
what does it mean?
The cultural part comes into the video blogging part. This is what's next. So now that we could take, like Rocketboom, for instance, fits into video podcast because it's distributed with RSS enclosure. We call it a video blog because we personally identify with that medium, with the blogging medium.
But you've never really been a video blog.
How do you identify what a blog is? Because it's so... It's a gray area.
We can have an hour-long debate here if you want to read.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered is the defining characteristic of blogs, because once you put editorial process on it, then it becomes a website.
But there's always editorial process. I have editorial process here, but
filtering. The filtering.
It's a personal approach.
When people come to a blog, they expect that it's your view of the world. You hit the publish key, and nobody changed it. And I think that for vloggers, it's sort of the same thing. Like I took the video, and nobody cut out the part or the blooper.
It's a personal approach.
There's a lot of editing going on.
Well, even beyond the editing, but
vlog, a video log is a single person putting a single piece of content out there. Now we can argue whether Boing Boing is a blog, right? Because that's done by a team of people.
Boing Boing's a blog.
Team blog.
Right, there's always
gray
areas to the definition, but we get the general sense. And so when you apply that to video blogging, the only difference is just from blogging to video blogging is just simply that the information is presented in video form instead of typically predominantly text or...
So it's a blog with video.
You know what? I don't think anybody in the general public population give a crap about
it's all an internal
debate. I mean, whether Boing Boing's a blog or not, I personally think it is.
It is.
Mainly because they use blogging software, and the team thing doesn't mean anything to me one way or the other, and that's what I do.
There's no question that video is moving to the internet. In fact, today Apple announced, or CBS announced, that it's going to put some of its primetime shows now. That means that Apple has every major network on for download. I mean, IPTV is real as of today, right?
Yeah, but that's not IPTV. See, now that's where I'll get into a disagreement with you about what IPTV is.
Well, all right. What is IPTV?
IPTV is stuff that goes to the television set, the main TV set.
Well, what if you hook up your iPod to the main TV set? Yeah, or what if you download it to your
My Channel 9 videos, you can distribute right out to a media center, an Xbox, or an Apple Macintosh. He hooked up to a big screen.
Because he's listening to the propaganda from Microsoft, but they're right.
I am the propaganda from Microsoft.
What do you mean?
Listening, he's writing it.
To it. He's saying it.
He's actually getting paid
I don't have to listen to it. I tell you.
Does Steve Jobs know you're in the store?
IPTV is basically... you can take any kind of content, obviously, it doesn't matter what it is, you distribute it onto the TV set, which is a loaded thing.
Via IP versus cable.
Again, it's a technological distinction.
So 40% of DLTV's audience is IPTV and the rest is downloading a video blog?
Well, that's my question. It blurs. Clearly, it blurs.
But the thing is, when I use my little camera, even though it's a $3,500 one, I'm still only putting the video out as 320 by 240 video, and it's not HD. You could, but it's hard to distribute. And I'm going after distribution medium of iPods and of small devices and desktop computers.
You can plug an iPod into the TV. Steve showed me when it came out. They got a cable. It goes. It's NTSC. It's
or I download it to my Mini, and I have my Mini hooked up to my TV.
Or you offer multiple.
But the kind of resolution I get off the Discovery Channel is a lot different than I'm going to deliver to you off this thing. Even though I can do.
Because you don't want to pay the bandwidth cost.
What about a movie
Which you
made
could actually
for
say,
TV?
I mean, look at the guys at Kevin and all the guys from System 3,
It's
Revision
made
3.
for the TV. That's what gets to the distinction right there. Is that it's whether you distribute it on that platform or whether you identify the content as being specific for that platform. Like, again, with Rocketboom...
So if CBS does it, it's not IPTV because they're putting it on regular television.
No, it's TV.
No, CBS
it's TV,
can do
but
IPTV
they're doing a new platform in which they're distributing it on. Does that change the nature of the content? Not really. It's just a new distribution platform in that case.
So you're focused on what the content is, not the
IPTV is going to let TV stations or cable networks or telephone networks deliver new kind of video content. For instance, we have IPTV running in our offices in Silicon Valley, and we can get 4 HD TV channels at the same time. So now I could watch a baseball game from 4 different vantage points, all on the same screen, all delivered at the same time.
Because that's exactly what happened on Friday in the House of Representatives. They approved a bill that allowed AT&T and Verizon, among other telcos, to make it easier for them to do subscription TV.
I think this is a bluff.
The House said that they're going to say a nationwide license instead of like cable companies, which are sold. And we learned this through bitter experience at Tech TV. You've got to go to every single town in the country with a bag of cash and a little black bag and say,
you get your
please,
hunting
sir.
license. That means you get to go to all 14,000.
This is a bluff.
Right.
This is a bluff.
A bluff by whom? By
what?
AT&T?
A bluff so that they can get approval. The House of Representatives also basically turned away. The Republicans managed to knock the net neutrality bill down.
Well, that's what's interesting. This net neutrality.
I'll tell you what the bluff is. The bluff is there's a secret or sweet deal between the cable companies and the phone companies. You don't touch my
They're going to divide
content. You don't, and then I won't touch your phone lines. So the cable companies, if they just stay out of the VoIP business, but they're apparently not.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to say, "Let's go. Let's see if we can screw you over with IPTV."
And the telephone companies are going to come into the video arena. That's what IPTV is all about.
Right.
Is now
It's made for it.
It's the Cold War right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Except in this Cold War, somebody will push the button.
This is what DSL was. It was video dial tone. The whole point of DSL was for the telcos
They're doing
to
it in
deliver
France.
video.
I mean, when you get a DSL line in France, it comes with 20 cables of basic
20
cable.
channels,
20
yeah.
channels of basic cable, and it comes with all free phone local, all local calls free.
So you
it's going
think
that
that these
direction.
guys,
There's no doubt it will get there.
Huge antitrust violation. If you think they're colluding and saying, okay, you take phone,
and the
I'll take
antitrust
television.
has been so effective over the last
So you think
few
they're
years.
actually doing that?
I mean,
they're
they're
making that
busting
agreement.
guys left and right for forming giant monopolies.
Yeah, but if they get caught, this would make Enron look
they
like...
get caught. The reason Enron got busted is because they were crooked.
Did you see this, by the way, that there's a company called Inboxer that specializes on searching and sorting through your email? They've taken all of the Enron emails that were made public record because they were...
There's a couple sites
because they were a deposition, and now you can search through it. David Pogue wrote about this in the New York
I had
Times.
a question
You can
about
search through all of Enron's emails.
That's been
I've
for
got a
over a
question
year.
about net
University of
neutrality that
California
I've
has
been
that
wondering about. Maybe
Let's
you
talk
guys
about
could shed
well.
some light on
Let me
this.
before you talk about that, Andrew. Let me point out that in this telco bill, there was going to be a net neutrality provision, ensuring that that the telcos would not charge Google extra, would not try to charge carriers extra for carrying their content. That was thrown out by pretty resoundingly. So that is at least the first
It was
defeat.
like 250, 168. It wasn't that resounding, and it was pretty much
All right, well, let him talk
Resounding
about net
enough. I
neutrality.
mean, it's the first defeat for the net neutrality forces. They say, well, we're not done yet. We'll go to the Senate next. But it is a defeat for net neutrality. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I saw on Lost Remote yesterday about the case where it looked like can't remember if it was AT&T or Time Warner. Somebody was blocking Craigslist.
That was Cox Interactive.
Blocking Craigslist?
Yeah.
And so then,
but
of course,
it wasn't. It was a bug in
it
their
turned
software.
out that it was a bug, but at first,
Yeah, but on Tech Meme it said that they did it, so it must be true.
Well,
and it was the number one story on Dig, so
Okay.
it's true.
Just like AOL blocked those
Yeah,
free...
AOL blocked the people who wanted
Right.
not to
The
use
story I
Good Mail,
saw
except
was,
they sent their email. The punchline in that was the EFF sent an email without permission from the users they sent it to. They just all put their emails together. So they basically spammed to say don't allow AOL to use
Your
anti-spamming techniques.
wow.
It was great.
Well, let him
Classic.
What I noticed was my feeling, it was the first time where it sort of was like there's a gleaming example of exactly how it could work.
Precisely the problem.
And then as soon as everybody sort of like jumped on Cox and was like, what's going on? How could you do it? And then they're like, oh, we had a bug, sorry. Whether or not they did or not.
This?
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
this
on.
is the Craig's
Here's
bug.
question.
How do you get a
Here's
bug
Here's
like
my
this?
question. Let's say one of the major telcos says, we're going to go ahead and set up our tiers. If you pay extra money, we'll give you everything. If not, we're going to give you this limited service. Why wouldn't that prevent the competitor to come along and say, we're going to give you everything for this price?
The competitor is in bed with these guys. This whole deal is a sweet deal.
But no, I agree with you,
They're in
Andrew.
collusion.
That's the
The
market
word's
argument. They
collusion.
said, well, the market would take care of this
Right, the
because if
market
somebody...
doesn't take care of it
when they're
And also,
colluding.
keep in
Large
mind,
parts of the US.
these guys own the last mile distribution to your house. So, like, I have cable modem. What am I going to do to replace that cable modem? Get a phone
But
line?
it depends on
Not everybody
DSL modem?
It depends on where you are. Some people don't have an option.
Exactly.
Some people have the option of cable, DSL, Wi-Fi. They're experimenting with WiMAX, right?
Yeah.
But
They're coming out with
huge
fiber
numbers of
optics.
communities
But
that
most
have-
people don't
they
have
one
that.
That's
option.
right.
Or
They're
none.
coming out with
My
this,
mom
they're
in
coming out with
Montana
this.
has
There's
none.
not- It's
Hold
not
on.
available.
There's in Montana where there's
I'm just
clean
telling you,
there's
these
a
guys
lot-
collude. There's no evidence that it's going in the opposite direction. It's going in the direction of a very few sources for getting connected.
It's all
those guys all work together. They have lunch with each other, and they basically collude, and that's what's going on.
You
that's
think
why that's the only
won't
reason.
Balance itself in that case?
No, it
you
does.
think it's too,
show me some evidence
too elite?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, there's reasons why. Whoever heard of net neutrality like a year ago? I never heard of this term until recently. It's only cropping up because it's becoming apparent that something like this is needed.
Well, yeah,
that's a problem.
When Bell South is sitting up and going, we're going to basically segment, we're going to have preferred tiers, and there's this weird mix of you've got a bunch of engineers who are going, actually, we wrote a paper that said we can't actually deliver all of the bandwidth we've sold to anybody unless we quadruple the price, because we can't give the service unless we charge everybody
we have heard of net neutrality before. It was legislation of the telcos back, in the 70s, 60s, 70s.
Like it's always been.
When they had a monopoly on how we called each other.
Jason, you're in AOL's an interesting position, both as a content provider and as one of the big internet service providers.
Yeah, and we're for net neutrality.
What do you fight each other internally?
No. I think everybody, I think that this issue is, if anybody's too heavy-handed, the market will correct itself. That's one of the great things about. I don't buy that there's a monopoly.
Paper.
If you squeeze, I would not. If I was one of these telco companies or a cable provider,
I agree. Don't push too hard.
I wouldn't push Microsoft, Yahoo, and Google, because Yahoo and Google could say, you know what, we've got billions of dollars too. We're going to Wi-Fi all the major cities, and we're going to give away for free, and we're going to do it just to screw you. And
that's what I was
we're going to do a marketing campaign about the free web.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I
these
think
guys are going to start getting really hit hard.
But that takes time, so there's going to be distortions.
It's not going to take time. There's always distortions in any free market.
Back up a second.
But I think Google is much farther along this road than anybody
Metro
else.
Wi-Fi. Metro Wi-Fi is their poison pill.
They've got Metro Wi-Fi.
That is their poison pill.
They've got these famous data centers in the parking lot that they can deploy.
I'm not going to argue that. But
so why would they be doing these big data centers?
Here's why the problem. Here's what you're overlooking in this. When Philadelphia tried to go Wi-Fi, the first thing that happened was Verizon and Comcast we got together with the governor, took him out to dinner.
It's okay, but the law that's passed that started in Pennsylvania because of Philadelphia and is passed in 11 states is it as long as it's not the municipality doing it.
You know what?
Anybody can come in and do it.
The fact that they can even get a law like that through means they can get even more onerous laws through, and that's what they're going to do.
Well,
that'll keep Google out.
This is why the net neutrality debate is important, even if no legislation happens, so that people are aware of this as an issue. And I think that if the problem is the public doesn't get it, they're not going to fight for it.
Too complicated.
Yeah, it's much easier to screw the citizens of every community in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia. It's much harder to actually screw over somebody like Microsoft or Google. They have much better lawyers.
Yeah, tell that to Microsoft after the antitrust case.
We have more lawyers than most of the companies I've worked for in my life.
Microsoft getting sued left and right. Their poor guys do have all these lawyers because, it's one thing after another.
Yeah, but, they were pushing it pretty hard.
I'm not saying they didn't deserve it.
I got to ask you guys what you think of the new Microsoft FlexGo proposal. This is basically selling computers like cell phones. You get the computer very cheaply, but then you buy minutes, and you have a little card that you scratch off.
I hate that idea.
Wait, I'm sorry, this is a joke, right?
No.
This is not a joke.
Not a joke.
Introducing Microsoft FlexGo.
No, you're talking, it's like, was in The Onion?
No.
This is a real
That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. What happens?
The cell phone is a stupid idea?
We've got Microsoft's propagandist here. Would you explain this to us?
Until now, people in emerging markets have faced two formidable financial barriers to PC ownership. The first is the high entry cost in markets without widely available consumer
So it's
credit.
not for us, it's for third world nations.
The second is the often high fixed monthly loan payments required to finance a PC combined with uncertain paychecks from month to month.
It's their response to the MIT $120.
Yeah, but they held up nobody wants to. They held up.
This is at WinHack.
Stupid.
That's not going to work.
I hate to drop. But like
it's not going to
the
work.
little. I can't even think of it. The ultra portable PC.
Oh, the
and they held
UMPC.
that up, and I was like, "This is what the third world needs." It's like no battery life, no ability to charge, and and it's like 7 times as expensive as the
But when I was over in China, what was everybody using? Cell phones.
Yeah. But they're not using,
that's what the
nobody's
emerging
doing
markets
homework
are
on a
going
cell
toward.
phone. And that's one of the fundamental arguments is that
cell phones
the number one computing platform
more
in
than
the
half
world
the world's
is cell
people
phones.
live on $2
shut
a day. That's less than I'd spend on a Starbucks latte.
You can't hear them at all?
Hey, Scoble, you don't have to throw around all your weight over here. We know that you're ordering $6 lattes. We know you got all that Microsoft cash. And
I wish.
You don't have to rub it in our
doesn't
face.
let me near the money machines.
So survey says iPods are more popular than beer on college campuses.
This is a Globe and Mail story from Toronto. Of course,
Yes.
the Canadian headlines you bring out.
Canadian headlines.
Beer and iPods. Thanks to you.
I'm sorry, was that MIT's campus or every other campus on the block?
It says every campus.
It was a survey of 1,200
blank here.
students, and it's like the last time anything was more popular than beer was 1997. It was the internet was more popular.
That's
than
another
beer.
thing I don't
Are iPods
understand
more
is how
popular than
polls
sex?
work on only like a few hundred people.
Leo?
I don't understand.
Check the survey.
Don't get it.
According to the
It's like the
survey,
Nielsen ratings. You see, it scales. It's mathematically.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Bogus
get that.
story.
It's everywhere,
Like
though.
the
That
Nielsen
headline is
ratings.
all over
Well,
the
look
place.
at it here. 7 people are deciding what the
It's everywhere.
thinks,
I've
right?
seen that headline so many times.
all right.
I'm curious about how those polls can work like that.
There-
I mean,
it's
even like
always full of
Wait.
it.
Is there
It's
any?
a
Is there a
bogus
college
normal,
student in the
normal
audience?
presidential polls and everything.
We need that.
Has
I think
anybody
the way you have to
tried?
do this is on a Friday night, you
There's
have
Dave
to
Weiner,
put,
by the way.
like everybody
out
put
some
their iPods
iPods.
out and then have the keg of beer.
Right.
And then you just
iPod,
see
beer.
kegs.
Where did they
iPod,
do the
beer.
survey? Did they say what city it was in?
Hey, Lester, you're in the audience.
I'll find out.
Yeah, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
That's Dave Weiner. Who you can't
Oh my
hear
God!
'cause he's off the mic.
Dave Weiner's taking pictures of this.
Yeah.
We're here talking about podcasting and blogging, and the guy who is invented
all
it
this.
is
Dave,
hanging out in the galleys.
Dave, if you go over,
Give the
Dave,
microphone.
give the microphone to Dave. Come on over and
I'll drag him over.
on that side.
Come
That's all right.
around.
You don't have
The
to.
other
We've
side.
got people to do that, Patrick.
Anyway,
do that?
We've
yeah,
got
you got people to
We've
do
got
that.
predators here to do that.
Predators.
Yeah. But we'll get Dave Weiner over here. I think that's pretty
Next
cool.
story.
Can somebody drag Dave or drag a microphone over to Dave? Next story.
Neither have I.
Next story.
Next story. Windows Genuine Advantage phones home. Now that the Microsoft guy's gone. Did you see this
duh.
story? Duh. People are a
the
little
whole point?
concerned because this Windows Genuine Advantage every day, apparently, is checking with Microsoft.
We have ways of making sure you comply with our licensing
It's
agreements.
just a way to keep tabs on the customers. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
They just want to see if you've been stealing software. Or
big
That's
deal.
all good.
music,
See, I wanna
or
know how-
It might be interesting to see if you're like maybe
No big deal.
meeting with people.
Scoble
you
wanders
can
up,
meet.
and the question about
I wasn't going
Windows
to do it when
phone
he was
home
here.
Yeah.
What's he? I don't want to put him in an awkward position.
Did you see Office 12?
I haven't seen it yet. Have you
It's
played
pretty
with
slick. Bill Gates showed it at the D conference last week or the week before, and it's very funny to watch Bill Gates. Like, he was very combative in the interview, although he's more mellow these days. But like every time Walt Mossberg or Kara Swisher would ask him a question, he'd go, "Okay, the way you asked the question is wrong. Let me rephrase the question," and he'd rephrase the question for them. And he's talking to two really brilliant people, but he actually made every question better.
Well, that's good.
And that's how brilliant he is. But then he showed off. He showed off the Office 12, and it is very slick and it's beautiful looking.
it's actually really easy to use.
And it's really easy to use. And I looked at it and I said, "Wow, that looks a lot like OS 10." It's like starting to look more like smooth and windowy.
I think we're going to.
Nice.
I
Friendly.
think the time will come, and we'll probably later this year when we start getting people saying, "Oh, Vista. Oh, what an ugly. How horrible. Oh, Office. They took out the menus. Oh my God, what are we going to do?" Because anytime there's a big change, remember what happened when XP came out? Everybody said the Fisher Price interface. You get used to it. A change is different. Dave Weiner, come on, have a seat.
Dave Weiner's here.
Well, Scoble and you can share a microphone. That's fine. Where'd Scoble go?
We can get close. Do we need to move?
Garage,
Do we
you're
need
trying
to
to
move
pick up
closer,
girls.
Leo? 'Cause they're-
You can move closer to me.
Well, actually, on second thought, I'll
Now that
move
you're
a
here,
little
we'll probably
bit.
get some questions directed to you.
Then Robert can stay here too. That's good. You can just share. That's why we got a handheld
At
microphone.
least
can
we have
come
a
in.
moment where not everybody's talking all over each other.
So, Dave,
Here's
it's
a
great.
little-
First of all, Dave, it's great to have you on here. Thank you. Hold the microphone up pretty close. Yeah. And his microphone is not on. The handheld needs to be on. Now you may speak.
Now you can.
Hello?
Yes.
Thank you, Leo.
It's great to have you here.
Pardon me?
Are you here for Vloggercon?
Yeah, of course. I'm a video blogger. Didn't you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I want to be a video blogger.
That's great. Yeah. And
I do
I thought you
actually
shut
do-
your blog down, Dave.
I haven't shut it down yet.
Okay.
And
So
I
you're
will
gonna
be
you're
soon.
gonna go out in a flash of vlogging
No,
glory?
I'm just gonna fade away. Like old soldiers, right? Yeah, you won't. One day you'll go. Oh, Dave. Well, who's Dave?
I don't think that's going to happen,
yeah.
and I doubt very much that if you have anything to do with it, it'll happen either.
Oh, thank
I can't see you going out quietly.
I will.
Really?
Believe me, I will stop. Absolutely.
Is it because you're burnt out on it, or is it just the?
No.
No?
No, it's time to do something new.
I got it. Okay.
Like all the times I've ever done anything new, it's because some catastrophe hit my life, and I had to stop doing what I was doing before, and I keep waiting for a catastrophe, and it just hasn't happened. So I decided I should actually stimulate one. And it's time. I want to do something new. I've been doing blogging for a long time, and that's how I'm going to do it.
I like the idea of sort of inculcating
I have to say,
your own
I think there's
I don't feel like jumping off a building or anything like that.
No, start a new venture.
There is definitely a curve to blogging. The number one factor we had at Weblogs Inc., the number one challenge we had as a business was blogger burnout. And somewhere in year 2 or year 3, and Scoble will speak to this, you're just like, you know what? Everybody shut up. I don't want to talk to any of you people anymore. I can't stand the viciousness.
I think that's happening with podcasting. We're kind of almost at that crux. It's almost 2 years old.
Podcasting's different, isn't it?
How is it different?
Well, I mean, you don't have
people
comments.
Just get sick of doing stuff.
Yeah, you have comments.
Well, you do, but where are they right now? I mean,
you have really amazing, hideous, nasty comments.
Yeah, you have a lot of comments.
Yeah, but they're not here right now.
No.
Are they? I don't know.
No. But believe me,
if they were here right now, there would be a pie or something. Or
it would be great because I could see them and I could hurt them when they say the foul, evil things.
That's my rule. When people write crazy comments, I say, listen, write whatever you want, but I have like my nephew reads this and my mom reads it, so keep it like civil.
I say the same thing.
And I say also, if you want a rule of thumb, like if you wouldn't say it to my face, then don't say it on my blog.
Does this work, Jason?
And it works all the time. And then one guy says, "Oh no, I'll say it to your face." I say, "Great. Here's my schedule. I'm going to be at this conference, this conference, and this conference. I know you live in that area. Come say that to my face." And the guy didn't say it to my face.
So I'll have to try this.
That's the Brooklyn rule.
Yeah,
it works.
If it works, I would like to do it. I just like the idea here. I hope you get this on camera of 3 of the most important people in blogging right here. We've got Scoble, Dave
Who's next
Weiner,
to Scoble and Dave?
And you. I just think that's pretty amazing, just the 3 of you sitting there. And I'm really thrilled.
There's some video bloggers over on the other
And there's a bunch of video bloggers here.
It's not about, Leo, it's not about important, though. That's not what blogging is about. It's a mass medium, and it's not important to be a blogger. Blogging is important.
The process itself.
The people who do it are important, and what they know, what they have to say. That's why it's sort of like, it's ridiculous to think of A-list bloggers and gatekeepers. If there was ever a gatekeeper in blogging, they would just route around him instantly. So it's not, we bring all of our 20th century values into this and try to figure out, how does this rate as a 20th century medium, but it's not the 20th century anymore,
Yeah, and Leo, that same kind of sentiment also applies to the video blogging world too, where there's a lot more of this sort of, it's different than just like pushing out content for money.
You're all just
and
a bunch of hippies.
Stuff.
Yeah,
There is a little bit
to that. I think that.
But these kids are too young. Andrew, you're too young to be a hippie, right?
Yeah, I'm not a.
Be something other than a hippie, right?
Funny.
I think it's about being authentic. I think that will be the lasting memory of blogging is going to be about authenticity, because
you said that in your blog, and I think you're absolutely
right.
right.
The only thing that really works in blogging is authenticity, and it carries over to your life. I found that when I was doing business before blogging, I was on point, I was on message a lot, and I stuck to the script. You needed to when you had a magazine and stuff like that in the old days. And now with blogging, I just don't care anymore. It's like, you know what, life is too short. I'm going to say what I mean and feel, because if you live with that level of honesty
have a
and truth,
TWiT toothbrush.
I feel like that. You can sing Kumbaya. But I feel like if you live your life like you blog with authenticity, you have a better life. You have less to explain.
That's very Buddhist of you, Jason.
You're making me sick over here.
Dvorak is a total cynic, and I love him for it.
Dvorak isn't authentic,
13,
right?
14 years old.
He's authentic.
Dvorak is not authentic.
He's got the clearest voice of all.
No, he has like 80,000 people writing for him, right?
No.
It works for Picasso.
I like that myth.
It's a good myth.
Really? You write all that stuff yourself?
Yeah.
Everything except when it comes to the books. And I also have some guys blogging with me, but their names are very clearly on the post.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Well, so that's not authentic.
Anything you see by John Dvorak is usually by me, unless somebody did it.
Usually,
I would submit that John's voice is very authentic. I mean,
he's authentic.
You may disagree with what he says, but he never self-censors based on whether you're going to agree with him or disagree.
To me, it's not just about authenticity. It's about anybody can get access to.
I agree.
Readers.
It's access.
Because 20 years ago, I had to talk CNN or CBS or MTV into airing what I had to say, And now I don't have to do that anymore. I just go to a video blog tool, put up my video, and if I don't have any audience, it doesn't matter. I put it up, and
well, that's the point. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, does it matter? So yeah, okay, you have access, but if nobody reads it, does it matter? Isn't it?
Yeah, but what changed in the last 15 years?
It matters.
It matters.
Why does it matter?
I don't know. I mean,
the discovery.
My mother has a blog, and not that many people read it, and.
So she's writing for herself?
No,
that's what's good about
not, because when she writes her thing she's got this thing about buses leaving their engines on when they're parked.
Right on.
So she writes this impassioned essay about that, and somebody else is passionate about it and looks it up in Google.
Yeah.
And then they find her and they find each other. And so you don't need 1 billion people reading it. You need the right people reading it.
I got to be honest, that really pisses me off too. I'm going to blog about it later.
I agree.
And
let's all fight.
This is how it starts. I bet you if every single person in this panel writes a thing about how pissed off they are about it, somebody will turn off your goddamn engine.org.
In Toronto, they do. They have big signs that say turn off your engine.
Everybody will piss at bloggers.
I got news for you. They didn't need to do that, and they now have rules that in her neighborhood, they have to turn the goddamn things off.
No doubt.
So she's been effective at doing what she wants to do, you know?
Kent Nichols is here. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody has a question for a ninja, please
ask.
You're Ask the Ninja.
Damn! Ask the Ninja's here.
Would you like to rotate some of us old timers?
I'm not done with you, Dave, but I think we could get. I don't know if we can get a ninth person on the panel.
Time, you know. I mean,
I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get a chance to see you because you're not back here. You're still back. You're still in Cambridge. Are you still in Cambridge, or are you back?
No, I live in Berkeley.
Oh, you're back. Wonderful. Well, then we can do it.
For a while, at least.
Yeah, that's great. All
He
right.
wants to get his brain engaged.
Scoble's interviewing you.
What's changed, though, is that I can use search engines, and I can find people
So that's
like
a very
Dave,
good
I can find
point.
people like you. I can find...
They got it.
They got it.
They're
I think
smart
that's a very
people.
good point.
Yeah, they get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little slow, but I'm starting to get it. I still think you're a bunch of hippies. All right. All right, Dave. It's great to see you. And on behalf of podcasters everywhere, thank you.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be
I have to
podcasting
say,
without Dave
with
Weiner.
Dave, this is one thing that doesn't come across in blogging sometimes is tone. And I hadn't met Dave in person, and Dave blogs with passion. And sometimes people say oh, Dave's a jerk.
He's notorious for being, ruffling feathers.
Right, but then you go meet the guy in person, and you never think that again.
Yeah.
And then
he's
the
a
people who
sweetheart.
know me are like, oh, Jason's a cool guy. And then the people I never met who blogged
That bastard.
are like, that...
Oh,
But I
wait,
think-
you're Calacanis? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
I have to take the clean. I have to take the clean bug off.
Tone
of this
in
now.
blogging is a problem.
Yeah.
I will admit that.
I can't believe we have the ninja here. I just can't stop staring.
Are you actually the guy in the ninja suit?
You know, we work very
define
closely with the
blogging.
Ninja. So, me and my partner Douglas Sarine, the International Order of Ninja chooses you. You don't choose them to do a
I understand.
podcast.
And if people knew you were a ninja, you'd probably have to kill him.
Absolutely. So we're real, we're real protective of the ninja, and we're just grateful he doesn't kill us every week.
If I were to ask the ninja to define vlogging,
No, here we go again.
Oh boy!
what would the ninja
Laporte's at it
say?
again.
What would the ninja say? Define vlogging.
I don't know. It's a real personal medium. Douglas and I, essentially we do the whole thing in my apartment
With the ninja.
With the ninja.
Good
Oh my
point,
God! Is that a
He
new
just jumps
black
through the window
MacBook?
and then jumps back out.
I'm sorry, I saw a new
Watch
black
out, the
MacBook, and I was
ninja
I was
wants our
hypnotized.
black MacBooks.
Seriously, 17-inch laptop, please. But it's a real, it's a kick to us that 300,000 people every week watch us. It's a very personal expression where I'll release the episode and I'll know that instantly there's no one above me going, oh, that's not funny or this or that. We get that feedback from our audience directly, and that's really amazing and really refreshing, and brings kind of almost a theatrical quality back to filmed entertainment, where you get direct feedback instantly, where before, if you do television it's months, and if you do films it's years, and with video podcasting, it's like you get it out
right
there.
away.
And it's like, boom.
I find that working in traditional TV is I always think where I work at G4 Tech TV in Canada that all the VPs are in one part of our building and they're all making decisions and not talking to you at all. So you have no idea ever what they're thinking or what they're doing.
Right.
Whereas being in podcasting, it's so great because you make all the decisions.
Patrick and I found out that television executives actually do watch all the time, but they have it watched with the sound off.
Right.
So there's no sense of content at all. I mean, I'm not joking.
Right, but they pick up the phone and say, like, why does that girl look terrible? Put more makeup on her.
That's what they care
Somebody
about.
told me a story about, like, Anna Mampour, the woman who does, like...
Christiana Mampour.
Yeah, and they said the first thing when she was reporting on the war that one of the producers said, this is somebody who works there, the first thing the producer said was, tell her to get some sleep and put on more eye makeup. She looks terrible.
That's
and
the
like,
only feedback I've ever
it's
had
a
from
war
people that
zone.
TV Canada is
You know, like,
makeup.
are they asking that guy with the gray hair when he's in New Orleans, Anderson Cooper, like, to put on? Maybe they do.
They do.
He's a good-looking man.
But the thing is,
good-looking man.
He doesn't need makeup.
working for a network,
even
the best
more
case scenario
uncomfortable,
is that all they have to do is bitch about your clothes.
We're in San Francisco. Lighten up.
No, I think that that's really true. And what it underscores is this exact antithesis of what we've been talking about, which is that content and authenticity are important in this medium. They are not important in mainstream television. It's all about presentation. It's all about how it looks.
Yeah, but like that said, like I still think a lot of people want to. There's a lot of debate in the community about.
Well, yeah, you're not really about content. I have to say.
Hey, screw you. But it's like you can't deny like the 2,000 years of storytelling.
Yeah. I agree.
That's
15,000 years of storytelling.
Well, exactly.
20,
but like that's why like we have a clear beginning, we have a clear
have an arc?
middle, and we have a clear end.
Ask a Ninja has a story arc?
Well, it does. I mean, basically,
Like Penny Arcade has
when
a
you hear
story
that
arc.
weird song, and then when he says, "Thanks for your question. I look forward to killing you soon." You know that's it.
That's
and you're
true.
Like, all right.
That's a very good point. There are some tropes you cannot break. Do you find that, Andrew, that there are things that you need to do that make it more television or more video? Does it bother you to do that?
No, we don't ever.
You don't worry about that.
Think in that perspective, but here's how we're fishing around for definitions and trying to explain it. You know what I think the best way to explain video and try to categorize it is in terms of distance. That really, it doesn't matter where you distribute it, whether you distribute it over IP, over traditional broadcast, if you want to send it over a WiMAX tower. But really, it's about where it's comfortable to watch, and what platform, and that comes at distance. If you're sitting on your couch and the TV is sort of further away, like a 9-foot distance, say, that's where you're going to sit there and watch content that you're going to share with people. You're going to be relaxed and you're going to consume it. It's not an interactive experience. It's just sort of like a typical TV experience like we know. And the content,
television all the time. It's
the content is created. The content that we're used to on TV is like that because it's catering to the person that's sitting at that distance from a television set on the couch. Now, as soon as you get content that you're watching on the computer, that distance is only a couple feet. And in that case, when you have that close of a distance, you're in an interactive position typically, at least with the computer, and you're not going to sit there for an hour. You're not going to share it with your whole family. Yeah. It's a personal consumption of a shorter thing.
Show on the
exactly.
Computer. I can't watch.
And then now let's move to even a closer than a computer is what, like an iPod or a watch or something, where it's like a 1-foot distance. And in this case, of course, the content works even better when it's shorter, like a cell phone content.
Well, I got to stop you
quick.
because this is one thing that radio has known for years, and this is the difference between radio and television, which television is more distancing. Radio is very intimate. Audio has always been very intimate. You listen to it directly into your head,
right.
And we do long form in radio all the time. This is a long form show.
Leo, I know when I listen to your show, I get intimate with.
Thank you. Please.
What's the parallel here? Because I see these as two very different mediums and two different kinds of experiences in which.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have links at the bottom, right? Like you watch Rocketboom, and the links to what you talked about are there. So it's like it really is like you're getting a little
because
zeitgeist.
that's how you make money.
No. Those are links that are editorial links.
Yeah, but
they have links under it of what they talked about in the story. So you start with Rocketboom, you see Amanda, right? And she's cute and she's funny and she's witty, and boom, it's over. And now you go on your adventure.
If you're
so it's almost like she's a tour guide.
Well, we try. Our intent is to take that information that's out there and compact it into enough to where it's like a headline, and then if you're interested and you want to get even more...
So you can be short because you're really giving people richness down the road.
But I think what I was trying to get at here is that really content is defined mostly by what platform it's created for. The furthest distance is the silver screen, and that's a 2-hour thing that we're used to.
What this reminds me of most is cable access, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Cable access was incredibly innovative.
It was authentic.
It was authentic and real. And what it lacked,
New York City.
Especially,
Bird,
New York City was a whole special breed. Robin Bird and everything. But I was flipping through the channels the other night, and Wayne's World came on, and I watched the whole thing beginning to end, and I said, this is what it's about. It's about people doing it with passion, authentically, and not for money. And it's economics that is one of the drivers here. You're not doing it for money, but all of a sudden you guys are making a living, and that is, for a lot of people, success.
With those numbers, they should be making more than a living.
It doesn't need to, though. Imagine making a living. For most people aren't at the stage in their career where they become a personality like you are or a business person like I am. These people are at the point at which it's like, oh my God, I left my day job that really sucked.
Right.
And now I work 3 hours a day doing something I love, and I make more money in my underwear.
Yeah.
This is great.
That's real success.
And that's
definitely not a blogger.
Real success by Leo's definition
that's what
is
this is
working
about.
in your underwear.
And when you're a mainstream media company, you can't compete with the passion of somebody like that. That's why the mainstream media can't compete. That's why you guys are number one and they're number two on iTunes, right? It's passion. It comes
Actually,
out.
we're number 4 and they're somewhere else.
Whatever.
Well, iTunes is just a tiny fraction of our
And iTunes is not measuring overall distribution. It's measuring how many people have signed up.
Okay, it's flawed, but that's why these guys are doing
they're doing
more than MSNBC does at their peak.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
right. That is mind-blowing.
You know what's weird to me is that MSNBC and these other guys must know this. Do they ever think about it?
The VP of ABC News cited Ask a Ninja as a direct competitor to it, and it was just like, you're joking. Come on, you're a $1 billion company.
I would like to see the Ninja and Keith O'Brien go at it.
I think they're in denial about it.
That was Bernie, this guy who I know as well, and everybody in the mainstream media, they are getting it, actually, and they learn their lessons a lot from the MP3 days when...
but you think the executives are getting it?
No, they're in denial.
Or is it the smart kids
that's why Major League Baseball...
The executives are getting it too, believe me.
That's why Major League Baseball says... Sling Media is stealing our signal because they're allowing you to watch Major League Baseball in another city. They don't get it.
You know the number one consumer of video bandwidth in America is Major League Baseball. They blow out more megabytes of video than anybody else in the country.
More than YouTube?
Yes. Well, okay.
That's an old stat.
That's
an old stat.
But Major League Baseball is making money hand over fist, and I haven't seen YouTube.
We have a larger audience per day than the National Hockey League has in America on a regular basis.
What about in Canada?
Dude, we're not impressed, okay?
Okay,
I'm a business guy. Let me give you a piece of advice. You never compare yourself to NHL. That thing's on the break of going out of business, okay? MSNBC, great comparison. NHL, terrible comparison.
But still, I just think it's fascinating because what goes into the hockey games, that supports.
It's a changing of the guard.
It's just amazing.
People have a limited amount of time to spend with media. They can consume more now because they have no downtime with the video iPod, whatever. But there is a limited amount of time, and blogs will be 20% of the media pie. It's got to come from somewhere. Vlogs will be 10, 20%. It's got to come from somewhere. Let me tell you something. 10, 20% of people's time, that's a hell of a lot of time. Which means there's a lot of market, and there's $1.5 billion a year in extra advertising coming into our medium. Mm-hmm. That's in addition to what's already come in, the 8 or 10 billion a year. There's not enough inventory for it.
Yeah, I mean the demand. I mean we've been hearing from everybody.
There's infinite inventory.
No. I'll tell you why.
Why is there not infinite inventory?
I'll tell you why there's bad inventory right now.
Advertisers do not want to put their ads on a MySpace page.
That's not
quality inventory.
No, the traditional inventory, like all of the Turner media and everything that's ever been produced in the history of humanity, it would be so easy to throw online. It's not time for that yet because people are not sitting at a computer and consuming that kind of data so quickly.
Neil and I are.
MTV is the only broadcast company that's been a traditional company that's had short little, clip type content that's easy to consume on these various platforms.
You'll be working at a major media company within 5 years. I guarantee it. And major media companies will be doing this more than they'll be doing long form in 5 years.
If any guarantee would be a collaboration, but we won't be co-opted or sold out. I can tell you that.
Oh boy! Hey, did anybody got a timestamp for this one? Let's get the time.
If I had a nickel.
Hey, no, actually, I've studied how you've created your blog network, and I actually used you as an example a lot about a lot of things that we would do differently in terms of how we're not interested in flipping it. We've already been through the venture capital stage, and we've passed it, and without needing it. And
so what do you want?
That makes you get even more money.
No, that's great. I mean, listen, you can be authentic. There are people who make indie films their whole life for $1 or $2 million, and that's fine. And
is that what you want to be?
Want to make a blockbuster? It happens. But nobody makes blockbusters with an indie budget.
But see, what's happened that I think, and this is what's so exciting, and the reason why we
anomaly.
The thing that's so fascinating is that, say, with your particular business, it required, just like almost every single business, it required venture capital.
We had no venture capital
in order to scale it up to a large stage.
No, even Microsoft.
We didn't have venture capital. And we raised a very small amount of money from Mark Cuban and myself.
But you raised you raised money for it, is the thing.
No. We raised a very small amount. I can tell you what I did because I did it myself.
You didn't raise any, but you raised a small amount.
We raised a small amount.
Okay.
We never used it.
Okay.
We never actually touched it. The business was so profitable that the small amount of capital that Mark Cuban gave us, and it was under $1 million, and the small amount I put in, we never actually touched it.
This cracks me up because Jason isn't old media, for crying out loud. Weblogs Inc. is far from old media.
But I love the fact that I'm the man now, by the way.
You're the man.
That's fantastic.
But that's because
that was 18 months ago.
Well, let me tell you something. You don't have to compromise your integrity. We sold the company. None of our bloggers have ever been edited to this day. And that was part of the deal when we sold it. You can do the same thing with yours. So
let me ask you, Andrew, what's your vision? What do you want?
Well, our thing is that our primary interest at this point is sort of has two stages. I mean, this is just in our dreams. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is how we're directing. And the first stage would look something kind of like what Jason or Nick has done with their blog networks, where we have a lot of similar types of niche video content that shares resources and does a lot of cross promotion and all that kind of stuff. That's only just the first stage, though. The second stage really includes a lot of the, one thing that we've noticed, even though we're really interested in just creating the content in the midst of Rocketboom and going towards starting to create other content, there's all of the auxiliary things that we didn't realize that we'd be doing, like creating an ad department suddenly. Like now, we could easily just push that off, but by creating it ourselves, we're ingrained in it because as publishers, we're publishing the advertisements. Same thing with
but you're not answering my question.
With licensing.
I'm not saying what you want to do, how you want your business structure to be.
No, but
what's your vision for your business?
So the vision then, as a result of all these auxiliary business opportunities and in business support systems that we weren't expecting that we would be getting off into, we're seeing the whole entire thing looking something like, look out, Rupert Murdoch.
You want a network.
I mean, but a network has, basically like a media.
Before you become Rupert Murdoch, get a second hit under your belt.
But all of the structures that you've built, are commodity structures. It's all about the people that you and the talent that you bring to it.
Exactly.
We're launching a new video podcast on Sunday. With a mainstream television personality behind it, because she's frustrated by creating, being on Mad TV and not getting her voice heard, and so it's not about who can control the video camera or who can edit or all that. It's just finding those voices and giving people
and it's
a medium
that
to
kind
create
of
with.
Exactly, and it's everything we were talking about blogging. And how blogging is sort of more grassroots and it's more personal. That sentiment that we were saying you can also apply to life. You can apply that to business, especially in this particular scenario. And so I think
you want
it
to
can
be
scale.
Rupert Murdoch with heart.
I think that what we can do is
Rupert Murdoch.
Hey, I mean, it's ridiculous. Everybody's going to roll their eyes when you say that.
Would Rupert Murdoch be Rupert Murdoch without a heart?
That's our greatest dreams
I've heard a lot
and aspirations.
Of entrepreneurs.
No, I'm asking you. I think that's a legitimate answer.
Give us a break. I mean, everybody should be able to dream.
That's a legitimate answer.
That opportunity is out there right now for people.
It's not like you're not showing signs of success. I wouldn't worry about it.
One thing you have to remember is, and I remind myself of this a lot, is just because you're first doesn't mean that you're going to win. And so you were the first, and so you get a disproportionate amount of audience and attention. And when I did Silicon Valley Reporter, I was 25 years old, and I had bright eyes like you did, and I got way too much press. But then the hard work starts, and you have to learn how to scale a business.
Well,
I don't know
Jason,
if you've done that.
if you looked into what has been going on, like we feel very confident because we've maintained it for so long, and we've been able to. Do you
have a second show yet?
Yeah, we actually just launched it yesterday.
What's it called?
Jet Set Show.
Cool.
What's it about?
Yeah, I mean,
it's really good.
When
It's a kid's
when
show.
you can get to when you get to 20 shows and you've got a couple million people, then it's a business. Right now, you're like
we got 10
at
shows.
the start.
The other thing too
there's a big distance between those two.
The monetary value is so great too. Like where it only costs us $25 to create the episode, and now we're making $80,000 a week.
And typically, when businesses start and there's no competition, there's great margin.
I disagree with you on some of this. For one thing, I don't think you have to be a mega company before it's a business.
No, of course.
You can be a
that's what I
small,
said before.
extremely profitable small company making millions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like Homestar Runner, Red vs. Blue, like those are all like these
most people I know
free
would be
vlog.
He said he wanted to be Murdoch. That's why I was just sort of.
Well, yeah.
I was picking up on the Murdoch thing.
I want to be Jason Calacanis.
Hey,
That's what I want to be. Seriously, come on. He's got a great dog.
I agree.
He brought to bar camp.
Yeah,
I agree.
We'll see.
I would take it.
I think you'll get there. The thing is, I lived through the down market when you couldn't get advertising if you had.
But it's a different
That's
game.
coming again,
You're
by the
talking
way.
about
coming
blogs.
next month. It's coming
You're
next
talking
year.
about
No,
blogs.
it's not going to be next year.
What?
I got to get this book done.
Aren't you talking about blogs when you say you couldn't get advertising?
People need to know what you
No,
have.
I'm talking about
any
just when the
website.
advertising can turn off like that. Like some, jerk off lights off a bomb. The economy, the consumer gets a little less confidence. The housing market. There's a lot of tenuous stuff. And so everybody here is talking about being the next Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, but if you have no margins, you're less
Here's the other
sensitive
thing
to that.
too.
If the advertising comes off, it can really get tough.
Here's another thing too, though, is that the moving image is the most powerful medium in the world, and you can win wars with it. You can crash stock markets. You can you win. Bush won the election. Bush won the election. It's not as powerful.
The Bible did pretty
Who
good.
will be the Lenny Riefenstahl of the video bloggers?
It's a very
That's
intense medium.
But to bring this back though, you were talking before. You were saying there's a 6-inch experience, there's a 16-foot experience, right? But it's all I know a lot of people. How many people are downloading movies off of BitTorrent, watching them on a computer, watching them on a notebook, watching them on an iPod, long format, short format? It's either going to stick with somebody and they're going to keep coming back to it, or they're not.
Well, we're in a transition time right now where we've got content moving around all over the place, but screens are becoming more ubiquitous.
I wonder if that's transitional or if that's how people want it. I think that may be how we want it.
As long as stuff's available, YouTube, whether or not it has a business model or they can afford their bandwidth in the next year, right?
It's very successful.
It's very successful, but
you know what? If I offered all that software for free, I'd have a big long line too.
True.
Yeah, I don't see how they're going to make that money
You
back.
know what I mean? But the flip side is the demand for these these viral
Skype.
videos. Millions of people are watching these or forwarding them around. They're showing in your email box 7 times a day. People are going to enjoy. They're going to enjoy short formats. They're going to enjoy long formats. None of that's going away unless peak oil hits and we're all running around.
All these video formats are going to be available on all platforms. People watch DVD. I'm watching V for Vendetta on my video iPod right now. Every time I get in the Pre-Core, I watch another half hour.
That's funny, because I saw it on IMAX, and I thought it was a great IMAX flick. I don't know how it is.
I watch it on V for Vendetta. You know what? I like the acting.
I'll watch a 2-hour thing on my watch if I'm in the right place because I'm in a weird spot.
Have a watch
but still,
no.
But I just mean that.
I know. I see it. It's really far ahead.
We want to see. We want to see.
But stereotypically, I think the general long form content is going to be more at that distance. It's going to stay.
It's great to think that, but right now, how many millions of people are downloading BitTorrents on a daily basis, long format videos?
Long form's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
You know what? I heard this whole short form argument back in 98, 99 from Atom Films and a whole slew of venture-backed companies that have $40 and $50 million, and you had nothing. You got more audience than they got put together.
That's right.
So there is some things to what you're saying. The video iPod has changed things, and broadband has changed things. However, certain things, the long-form format, the 30-minute, sitcom, those things are ingrained. They're not going to go away.
No.
And shorts are not going to wipe those out.
Right. No, but those will
In fact, they wouldn't even put a dent in it.
Exactly. I agree. In fact, it's going to actually grow all of that content even more. It's just that those will mostly be watched Like if you're going to sit down and watch something for an hour.
At Microsoft, I do these hour-long commercials, basically, and I get tens of thousands of people watching them, and all my coworkers are going, that's too long, I can't watch this stuff. And I go, yeah, but our best customers care about this stuff,
and
you
they
show
them
like
watching a live stream, and there's like 96% retention for the entire thing. You know what I mean? It's amazing to watch some of that.
Speaking of too long, we are running out of time, and I really want to thank everybody for being here. We have to fit on a CD because AOL apparently can't figure out how to get it moved over digitally.
CDs only hold so much, and that's us.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, part of the.
What do we do? I know what we're helping.
When we do it right, they say the CD is full of it.
I think he knows people who knows people.
No. Well, we'll talk. But part of the
Blu-ray, right?
Part of the content management system at AOL, when they move this over to the AOL Radio side, they have to burn it to a CD. So we have to fit on a single CD. But also, many of our listeners like to keep it down to under 80 minutes. So I think we should do that. I really want to thank you all. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I think really we just got started. There were so many great voices here, and I'd love to do this again. Andrew, I really appreciate your time.
Thanks
Andrew
for
Barron,
having me.
Rocketboom.com. It is a great video. And what's the new one? Jet
Set Show.
Jet Set Show. Is that at jetsetshow.com? Or? Yep. That's great. And it's for kids? Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, actually, our correspondent Zadi, who lives in Los Angeles, she and her fiance have mostly put this one together, and Amanda and I have been kind of executively producing it, and we released the beta, and actually everybody's freaking out and saying it's they don't understand how this could be geared towards kids, and in some regards that's good because we wanted it to be a really sophisticated kids show.
I have my kids look at it.
We have a lot of work to do,
kids.
I think, or we need more feedback from people to say no, yes, so that we've been sort of in an isolated world, so it'll
put
be
a
nice
link
to beta.
on our page so I can go.
Right.
There you go. Thank you, Andrew. John C. Dvorak. It's been
.org/blog.
Dvorak.org/blog. Been great. We'll go back to talking about news next time, but this was a lot of fun. Actually, next week we're going to be at Yahoo doing the show from Podcast.
I won't be here next week, so I'll see you the week after,
yep.
and then see everybody, or hear from, or everyone can be listening to me in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Amber MacArthur, of course, is very visible on the net at commandn.tv.
Yep, and ambermac.com.
Ambermac.com, and of course the Torrent Show, which you're filming here in San Francisco for Canadian TV.
And Inside the Net.
And Inside the Net, which we do on the TWiT network.
Call for Help's on Google Video now, so that's
and it's
exciting.
on Google Video.
Yeah.
If we get the server working.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
That's a bit of a problem.
Something going on with that.
Servers are hard. Let's go shopping.
No one knows better than Patrick Norton about that. DL.TV. But
I heart Flash.
You push a lot of megabytes out every
terabytes.
single show. Terabytes.
It's getting really interesting, actually.
Yeah. I got to find out where Andrew's getting his cheap.
Actually. Throw it away, Andrew. We're going to talk.
Jason Calacanis, it's always great to read your blog, and now to get you on TWiT. I'm thrilled you were here.
I'm thrilled to be on the show. I've been waiting for a long time.
Well, anytime. You're always
episode
welcome.
58?
57.
57.
Took us 57 episodes. We finally got you on.
That's huge.
And I really appreciate your time. Where's the best place to go to read your stuff? What's the
Calacanis.com is my personal blog.
It's well worth reading. I read it all the time. Calacanis.
You got it.
And Eric Nichols, Ask a Ninja. Sorry, what?
Kent.
Kent
God,
Nichols.
Leo.
Who the heck is
Seriously.
Eric? I have a problem with
Wow.
names. Hey, the ninja stopped by briefly. Did you see that?
So exciting, I know.
Wow, look at this guy.
It's like the
Why do
wind.
I got to sit next to the ninja? He could kill me at any moment.
I'm going to flip out. I'm going to do it. Call me Eric again. Just say it.
Oh, no.
Say it.
The ninja could throw me right off the balcony.
Have a toothbrush.
Have a toothbrush. You'll feel better.
He could kill me with that toothbrush.
Kent, I apologize, but I'm so glad you're here. And we love Ask a Ninja. Everybody loves Ask a Ninja.
Great. Ask a Ninja. And then the new one's going up on Sunday, hopeisemo.com. It's a funny podcast about a sad girl.
About an emo girl?
With an emo soundtrack?
My daughter's an emo chick, so that should be a lot of fun. I'll make sure she watches that.
Awesome.
Robert Scoble from the Scobleizer and
Channel 9,
Channel
and
9.
10.
I always want to call it Plan 9. Plan 9 for my Channel 9 and Channel 10 too, which is really cool. Is that going well?
On 10.net. Yep.
Yeah, really fun. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you could come by. I really appreciate it. And thanks to Dave Weiner, who is off talking to people and making friends and influencing people for joining us. He really is the king. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing without Dave Weiner's hard work.
Mad love.
Creating RSS.
Or you're sending out email blasts to tell people to download.
Exactly.
And podcasting.
Yeah, we wouldn't have podcasting without him. So we thank you all for listening. Thanks to AOL Radio for giving us the bandwidth for the show, AOL.com/podcasting. And we'll see you next week from Podcast Academy 3 at Yahoo. I'm Leo Laporte. Another TWiT is in the can. This Week in Tech. This Week in
Cranky old man.
This Week. Maybe characters are set up. This Week. This is a crap society.